And we are live, loaded in for some Week 4 Chair League action here on Dragon Shrine. On the blue team, representing the Regen Globetrotters, we have Carl on Tyrael, Flux on Johanna, Kachara on Rhaegar, Voorhees on Li Ming, and Gamer Noob on Zeratul. And representing Oversoul on the red team, we have Angie on Zool, Hallie on ETC, Alea on Uther, Magic Pants on Kelthus, and Chank on Greymane. The gates are down, both teams are racing towards imminent collisions here in the middle of the map on Dragonshire. And so far we've got a couple different strategies from each team. We see Zeratul ahead trying to get the lay of the land and realizing just how much trouble he's in. He's going to throw out a little bit of poke and then get away to safety. Regen Globetrotters starting with the 3-lane split, not wanting to, feeling that they would have the underhand in that big engagement there in mid lane, and deciding, you know what, nope, we're just going to go ahead and be in position for experience, and that's going to be how we'll set things up. The way things are splitting out, we've got Kelthus and Johanna here in the top lane, duking it out. We've got ETC and Uther pairing off with maybe a 4-person squad with Greymane and Zool against poor Li Ming, who seems content to just grab what experience she can. Rhaegar and Tyrael solidly in the bottom, with Zeratul kind of roaming around, figuring out where he can provide the most benefit. Shrines will be active at about the minute 15-second mark, so both teams in fairly good status for that. No major loss of resources yet. Although Johanna's health and mana just a tiny bit low, but she should be in a reasonable shape to secure this from Kelthus, at least for the short term. Down in the bottom, we've got both shrines actually in control for Regen Globetrotters, but quickly taken back by Oversoul here in the bottom. And looks like we're going to see a fairly back and forth round here for shrines. Back in the top, Johanna still at about half HP. Kelthus, mindful that Zeratul is lurking in the shadows, never straying far from his gate. It's a very safe action to do, and it doesn't look like Oversoul's interested in putting a lot of pressure on that top shrine. It looks like they're content to say, you know what, Johanna, you can have it, or we're gonna get it eventually. And as I say that, Kelthus runs up here to steal it away from Johanna. Johanna not immediately reacting to this, and the shrine is active in favor of Oversoul. ETC and Zool coming in to try and secure this. ETC starts channeling, and so far it looks like Johanna's going to be just too late to interrupt that, as Haley is going to pilot the Dragon Knight straight down mid, the first of the game, and is going to do quite a bit of damage with Regen Globetrotters not immediately in position to shut this down. Only a third of the health gone from the Dragon Knight. A nice Iron Skin to prevent Johanna from getting blasted across the map, keeping her solidly in the fight. And so Dragon Knight's very likely going to get both of these towers down, might get through the wall. Looks like she's just going to retreat on this. And with a sliver of life, Haley continues to threaten with the Dragon Knight, or will eventually take her down, though. And so that was fairly good play from Haley as the Dragon Knight. Not a lot of significant damage on this mid lane. The towers are gone, which is certainly useful, but no real structure on the fort. But the big benefit from there is that she didn't just rush in and swing wildly. You saw her retreat still in dragon form, continuing to threaten with that potential ability, and that gave Oversoul time to amass a fairly substantial experience lead, enjoying about a full level advantage before Regen Globetrotters was able to pick up some of those minion waves that had built up. Still no takedowns yet. Not a tremendous amount of damage from Regen Globetrotters besides Li Ming, so they're going to have to win these fights the hard way, just getting someone out of position, continuing to wail on them, maybe getting a coordinated Li Ming orb and Zeratul strike. But no easy pickings offered for either team just yet. You do see Siege Camp starting to dole out some punishment to this fountain here in the bottom. It'll almost certainly fall, as well as suffering some fort damage as well. So Oversoul just bouncing between lanes, just slowly pecking away at the infrastructure of Regen Globetrotters. And all the while maintaining their experience advantage. Both teams at level 7, but that's quick to... I should not... I should persist for a little bit. Not a giant head start on the way to level 10, but... you know, take what you can get while you can, right? Shrines will be active in just a couple seconds. It looks like Oversoul looking to apply some pressure on the map by starting on the bruiser camp and surrendering control of both shrines to Regen Globetrotters. They have a firm position on this, and if they happen to position themselves well, they might be able to pick up this Dragon Knight. But Zool and Uther are going to come down and turn that off for Oversoul. Meanwhile, Regen Globetrotters picking up this bottom siege camp, which it's kind of a cool play here because Oversoul's already taken the bottom shrine. So if they want to go help Kelthus in the top, they're going to have to let the siege camp do work. Zeratul a bit caught out here. Is going to be the first takedown of the game. But Root from Zool just doing a devastating amount of damage to Zeratul's fairly low health pool. And so these, I'm sorry, it's Bruiser Camp in the bottom. Bruiser Camp is likely going to get this this single fort, so it's not a total wash for Regen Globetrotters. They are going to get something out of the deal. But so far, it looks like ETC is going to try and wrestle around Li Ming, trying to avoid her shots. And Johanna and Kelthus deadlocked in mortal combat here in the top shrine. Kelthus in hot pursuit, securing the shrine for himself. ETC is going to channel. Li Ming is going to try and just throw out some pokes, but Greyming's just going to rip her apart, expending the last bit of his mana pool. And let me silence this thing. I'll be right back because I have accidentally run a thing. Sorry about that, had some technical difficulties. Twitch decided to start playing music. Dragon Knight now finishing what the first one started. Haley in command again, mowing down this fort in the mid lane. So far, both teams still at fairly high resources. Dragon Knight's going to turn his attention down to the bottom and finish off this fort. Just trying to divert the attention of Regen Globetrotters. Now Oversoul has two different lanes they can push to threaten damage on a keep, and it looks like bottom's going to be the target of choice. Li Ming booted away. A nice Void Prism's going to isolate everybody except Haley. So Regen Globetrotters is going to get to take that opportunity to unload damage, but the Dragon's still standing with only 2 seconds to go. So she should pop here right instantly. And the fight continues with Oversoul in full retreat. I say that, ETC trying to set up a nice little trickeroony here, nestled into the crook of this map. Sliding in, I expect a big... no, not quite yet. In fact, it's going to be just hero after hero taken out on the side of Regen Globetrotters. Didn't even need to use Mosh Pit on the side of Oversoul. A 3-for-0 in favor of Oversoul. And they are running the table so far. They've got a 2-level lead. They've got 2 important structures down. No significant damage on the keep, and the resources aren't terribly high. They've still got most heroes have about half mana or lower, but Regen Globetrotters have all but one of their ultimates on a fairly lengthy cooldown, so they don't have a whole lot to really threaten with at the moment. Oversoul on the cusp of level 13, achieving it now. And so both teams go back to kind of recovering, scooping up experience, applying pressure on the map. We see Li Ming nicely cleaning up this this top camp here. A bit of a conflict brewing here in the mid lane. Zool leading the charge against Tyrael and Rhaegar. And so far, no team totally willing to commit here. We see Oversoul trying to set up a bit of a bush here in the middle, but Regen Globetrotters keenly aware of what lies in the jungle. So 4-on-5 here in the mid lane. Regen Globetrotters splitting off to go deal with the siege camp, pushing in the bottom lane, and Li Ming tasked with holding on to this top shrine, and she has vision on the ever-increasing numbers of Oversoul, and it looks like she's gonna keep herself just out of range long enough to survive here. Zeratul blinks away just in nick of time. Void Prisons to save himself. Another big long cooldown, but it is better than a hero takedown. But Zeratul showing no fear, just going right back into it. Bottom shrine on the side of Regen Globetrotters. Top shrine in contestation with Kael'thas on Oversoul securing it. Huge damage coming out on Li Ming. A big Ancestral is going to keep him up, but is it going to cost Rhaegar his life? His health is dropping very low. Living Bomb is going to almost take him out. Rhaegar is going to escape, but he's going to be out of this fight for a few seconds. Li Ming's going to pay for that with her life, and so far it's a 1-for-0 in favor of Oversoul, as they continue to push and apply pressure and not worrying about that bottom shrine just yet. They say, we've got the numbers advantage, we can get it later, we're going to get this fort right now. So Regen Globetrotters almost to level 13. They're going to need to do something fairly soon to prevent this last dragon from happening, but I don't think they're going to be in position to do it. ETC just waiting to get the cap, waiting into the bush. Oh, nice mosh pit. It's only going to get 2 people, but one of those people is Rhaegar, who does fall, and the rest of his teammates in mortal peril. Zeratul has to escape aggressively. Tyrael is out of mana, rooted next to the shrine. He's likely not long for this world, and the best Johanna and Li Ming can do is escape from this and try to mount a defense against this dragon. Another great Iron Skin popped by Johanna to keep herself out of harm's way from Zul's roots. That's a crucial ability to manage if the Zul's on the other team, knowing when you can pop Iron Skin. So good presence of mind from Johanna. But it's just not going to be... it seems like chaff before the wind in the face of this Dragon Knight and defensive team, as it's barreling down against the keep. Another nice Iron Skin from Johanna. She's going to keep her feet glued firmly to the floor and start escorting the damage ball of Oversoul away from the keep, and they manage to mount the defense. They hold on. Zul thinking about pushing here in the bottom, thinks better of it and retreats with his team. Oversoul currently has a large structure lead and a 3-level lead as well, so the game is currently theirs to win or lose. But again, it's like we've seen so many times in this, one bad team fight, one bad engagement, one unnecessary pick, and your lead can evaporate instantly. And so those are the opportunities that Regen Globetrotters are going to have to try and obtain. And this is a very aggressive move from Regen, trying to pick their siege camp in the middle of a fight. They might be able to pick ETC here for their troubles. Several ultimates popped on the side of Regen Globetrotters, tried to desperately to get this one takedown they need, but the damage just isn't there, as Zeratul's going to get pursued out by Greymane. Tyrael's going to follow suit, and it's a 2-for-0 in favor of Oversoul. Regen Globetrotters in full retreat. And so the siege camp winds up going to Oversoul. They've got a wave knocking at the door and bottom here. They've got a 2-man advantage, and they'll certainly knock down this wall. They'll likely get the keep. And if Regen Globetrotters can mount a defense here, that's all that Oversoul's going to get. But they have to be extremely careful. If they suffer another takedown now, that could be beginning to threaten core itself. But they managed to hold on. They haven't really suffered any damage to themselves or the keep. In fact, they're just plunking away at Zul, whose health is dropping quite low. And so they may be rewarded with a takedown here. A huge Divine Shield is going to keep Greymane alive. A massive mosh pit getting 4 members of Regen Globetrotters, but it's not going to be enough as ETC falls and then Zul. But so it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Regen Globetrotters. They're first of the game, and so this is the turnaround they needed. Those big long death timers are going to keep Zul and ETC out of the fight while these first shrines spawn. So this is the time to turn it around. This is the time to mount something offensive with shrines popping here in just a few seconds. Teams clearly communicating to send some sort of defense down here to the bottom. Regen Globetrotters electing to play it safe rather than try and get the desperate dive for dragon. They're going to stay together. They're going to secure what they can. They're going to get Maybe could get another Brewster Camp out of the deal, but they say, you know what, we can win fights. This is by no means over. We can beat them and we can hold. So we're gonna guard this bottom lane where our defenses are the weakest, and just see, you know, what kind of damage we can do. We're gonna make them come to us, and I think that's a good call from Regen Globetrotters. Meanwhile, Oversoul picking out Zeratul and a camp as well. So they elected to say, you know what, if you want to apply damage to the bottom lane regen, well, we're gonna apply pressure to the top. And so we're gonna make you choose instead how this fight's gonna go. We have an initiation from Flux here in the bottom lane. A big sanctification, big divine shields. I'm sorry, just sanctification drop to keep Regen Globetrotter standing. Zeratul is gonna fall. Divine shield popped on Zool to barely keep him alive. His health is critically low. Johanna with low health and mana, I don't think is gonna have the speed to escape this pursuing Greymane, but the team bails her out as Tyrael locks in Mortal Kombat with Greymane, but Greymane's going to dive in. Moshpit's going to keep everyone in place, and that's going to be a 2-for-0 in that instant. So I'm sorry, a 3-for-0 in favor of Oversoul. So with 5 members on the board, but not a lot of health to their name, looks like they're going to build up and just continue to apply pressure, and this really is the final defense for Regen Globetrotters. Li Ming and Zeratul are going to have to hold on for about 20 seconds before support arrives, and that's a tall order. Although at this point, Li Ming does just start throwing around damage like a large bully. So if she can maintain the mana necessary to do this, this may be their best defense. Oversoul deciding to just go clean up other keep. They say, you know what, there's a chance we don't win here, so let's make sure we get everything that we can. Zeratul saved a bit as Dragon Knight kicks him to safety, still at half health, but that core is falling so fast, and I don't think it's going to stand up to the onslaught of all the damage that Oversoul's brought to the fight, but it does cost them 2 heroes. Unfortunately, that's not enough, and Oversoul is going to take this map on Dragonshire. So it's wow, it took a while to get there. We had a couple technical difficulties and a couple ruling questions here in the start, but we did get there. A great match from Regen Globetrotters and Oversoul. I really thought they're around I think it was like the 12 or 13 minute mark when Oversoul had the Dragon Knight bearing down on the bottom keep, but couldn't quite find an in, couldn't quite find a way to punch through and deal that last bit of damage. I thought that Regen had what was necessary to turn it around. They got the 2-for-1 they needed. They started they forced Oversoul's hands to a retreat. But I guess they just took too much damage to continue playing aggressively. They had to enjoy the victory, but ultimately lick their wounds and get back to playing safely. So Oversoul just with that vicious damage from Kel'Thas Greymane, and Zool sort of doing a lot of shot calling there, almost by default. One of the cool benefits from Zool is that when you use his Roots ability, it just paints a target on your back for everybody on his team to say, you know what, this is the guy we're going to get. This is the person we're going to unload damage on. And it's not as huge an advantage in Chair League when presumably everybody's on comms, but it's still useful to have that visual indicator where it's obvious to everybody on your team who's going to eat a big bowl of damage soup. So that's a strong ability that's often overlooked. It gives you a chance to escape from it and react, but it also gives your team a chance to engage on that. Other comments to note: we saw a lot of very strong, very well-timed uses of Iron Skin from Johanna in response to Roots, in response to Dragon Kicks. Johanna being with Tyrael the staying power of the team. It's very necessary for her to be involved in all those fights, for sure. And so the thing that may have helped Regen Globetrotters if they relied a lot on Li Ming for damage, and if I remember correctly, I think the patch that she took today I don't think it was a strict nerf to Li Ming, but I think it changed her. I know one of the things it did is it reduced the size of the orb as it traveled, and I don't know if it affects damage with that as well, but it can certainly affect damage output if just the size of your orb and the size of the explosion changes as well. So it's big patch day. There's a lot of weird clunks in the system that I'm sure teams are just now adjusting to. Li Ming, by no means the only hero that was changed. Many heroes received tweaks and adjustments, some more drastic than others. But all that aside, well played from both teams. It was an exciting match to cast, but unfortunately there is only one W, and today that W goes to Oversoul. My name's been Baz, and thanks for watching this edition of Cherry League. Thanks, and I'll see y'all on the Nexus. Take care.